Do. Says I'm live. I don't know. Are we? I guess we'll find out soon. What's up, everyone? It's been a long time. We've had a lot going on, but I'm back. So let's go ahead and wait for some people to get in. I don't know how many people will come in. It's been a while, and definitely not in the normal scheme of things. So before we get into it, of course, I'm Lunar Outlaws Garage, and this is our first live in probably the better part of, I don't know, 8, 9 months, maybe a year. Can you guys hear me all right? I don't know if you can. I'm going to use my phone to read comments. So I can't see the computer from here. Hopefully the video quality is good, and hopefully you can see me all right. So let's go ahead and wait a few seconds while I confirm what's going on with the old phone here. Oh, it does sound like I have audio. Okay, guys. Pardon me, it's been a very long time. All right. What's up, GY Tano? It's been a long time. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm hoping you guys loved the Buick video, and I'm hoping you're going to love the square body. I'm actually going to start working on that. I have all week next week where I can dedicate it, all my time on it. Except for on 4th of July, I'm taking the kids to launch rockets. So little rockets, you know, they're 5. So yeah, hopefully you're all doing well. What did we talk about? Well, let's go ahead and discuss some of the issues we had with the Buick while we were assembling that. Of course, the biggest issue was trying to get everything to jive together and get it all together in a reasonable amount of time. I think it took me about a month altogether, and that's including cleaning up the property, which was about 3 weeks. So it took me about 2 weeks to put that car together. The biggest issue, of course, was getting the, well, initially I wanted to run a LS3 90mm fly-by-wire throttle body, and it just didn't want to jive with the, I think it was a 01-ish Corvette pedal, and the other thing was the 02 Escalade tack. None of that wanted to jive. So pitched that idea, and I ran a mechanical throttle body. All right, Daniel, yes. I'm glad I'm back too. I'm glad you guys are back. The square body is going to be absolutely epic. Tomorrow we start putting together the bed. I've been driving it. I was planning on driving it today, but this morning was a total deluge. So I was hoping to get in a little bit of extra videoing done off from here, and it just didn't work. But tomorrow we get the old bed off. We needle scale the frame from the cab back. We check everything that needs to be checked. Probably, you know, along the lines of we'll try to jack up one side of the truck this week and replace all the body bushings, and then go to the other side, jack up that side, pull those off, put new body bushings on that side. And the reason why you want to do one side and then the other side, and making sure one side's always tight, is you keep the cab square. Now, once the cab and everything is all sorted out, we can go ahead and start doing all the other stuff. One of the big things we're going to have to tackle is the rockers. The rockers are in really rough shape, but I was able to get it a complete piece that will be able to weld on and replace them. Other than that, the biggest hurdle for that is replacing a dash pad and putting a 500 cubic inch big block in it. So that's a little bit bigger of a hurdle than replacing a dash pad, though. But going back to the Skylark, as far as thanking me for uploading content, honestly, it makes it so that I stay keep up on my own projects. The whole point of it was, the whole reason why I started was to hold myself accountable to myself and make sure that projects don't just sit inside my driveway. Now, things have changed a little bit. I used to kind of go from one project to the other at the same time and kind of bounce back and forth. I'm done with that. We're not doing that anymore. If we have something that comes up, like, you know, I may have burnt out the clutch in the Supra recently, I have to pull the engine and transmission out so that I can replace the clutch. That's going to be a one-shot video, and that's it. We'll just go back on the square body. Other than that, it's not going to be 2 projects at once. So we're going to solely focus on getting the truck done, and we have a lot to do on it. Everything from, we have every piece of the front suspension, rear suspension. I have the cab or the bed bottom came 2 days ago. We have the sides for the beds, and just a lot to go through. Let's see, Brian, where have I been? Well, so we'll get into a little bit later, but something happened last year. One, last year was really fixed to be like about the most epic thing that could ever happen. I got a job producing video for a company, Hemmings Motor News, and I got, I think I made 24 episodes between Hemmings Garage and Hemmings Garage Overtime. And then after I was wrapped up working on that stuff, I ended up being invited for 2 weeks to build a supercharged Fox body. And I was like on cloud nine. I was over the moon. And then something really bad happened. And unfortunately, that derailed everything. It just put everything in a really bad state. And unfortunately, that just kind of led me to just not want to I didn't touch anything really for a long time. Things just sat. And then I kind of got myself in a better place. We're still trying to get through certain things, and I have to be careful what I say and how I say it. So I will cover what happened. Fortunately, Stephanie, my wife, is healing well. But some things are never able to go back the way they were. So yeah, it was. And then the reason why you guys got the Buick in a one shot was more just to get myself in a good spot. It was more like therapy for just my own soul. I just needed a break. So I went through and I just kind of filmed things here and there and put the Buick together so I could just go have some fun. But we're not going to do that style one shot with or one and done with the square body. We're going to do that whatever I do in a day. As long as I accomplish more than just turning a couple of nuts and bolts, we'll have a video for you. Why did I choose to replace instead of rebuilding the 350 of the Buick? I just blew my engine, LOL. So the big issue is I actually have a 454 big block downstairs. The 350 could be rebuilt. I have two of them. The problem with the one that was in there was just, it was really, really worn out. So you're going through the entire thing. Machine shop, new pistons, you're just ground up. I have parts and pieces. It's just, do you really want to spend that kind of money? And realistically, I knew what I had to do, which is put together the square body. And that's not only for my own use as a, driver for going to pick up stuff, whether it's, an engine, or if I have to tow a car home, or if we decide to move, cross country or something like that. This is the rig that's going to do it. If I want to go racing and I want to go 2,000 miles, I could drive the Supra or the Buick all the way there, or I can drive in something really, really comfortable with air conditioning and get there without having to have the whole back sweat thing. So then we go back to why I chose the LS. Well, the Escalade blew up. Well, it didn't blow up. It rotted out. It threw some things out that it needed. And unfortunately, just restoring or repairing it was just not worth it. So instead, I decided to cut my losses on the vehicle, pull the LQ9 out of it, do some upgrades, and drop it in. Now, realistically, you can do an LS swap for $500 to $800. Pre-COVID, sure, maybe. Now, no, you can't. I keep having people saying you could, and realistically, you're talking almost $800-900 right now, at least in the Northeast. For you might be able to pick up a 4.8 for $600-700, unless you're getting like a really roached out engine. It just doesn't make any sense to say that you could do it for that. But circling back to the 455, I have the whole bottom end done. I have a cam in it. I was ready to go for it. And then I got the quote for rebuilding the heads, and it was less expensive. And I say that softly. It was less expensive to just buy a set of aluminum heads, which the ones I was preferring to go with were still $2,500 before taxes and before shipping. And then there was a wait period on them. And then I'm buying an intake manifold, the timing, the timing cover, the backing plate for the water pump was cracked, and that was, you buy a cheap one, but I heard bad things about it because it is also your oil pump, and that's another 600, $700, and then you're $700 for a girdle, almost $1,000 for all this other crap. I was just like, you know what? Do the LS swap, and then I can take the money that would have gone into just getting the engine going and a TH400 that would fit properly to it with a small tail shaft. I just put it into things like converting it from drum brakes to disc brakes to the more reliable Sniper fuel tank with the in-tank pump, and just got away from that thing. In fact, you guys are fixed there. I can't move you, but watch this. You can't see it. It's cold. But no pumping of the fuel tank. You can actually, I don't know why I'm yelling. I have the mic right here. So no pumping. Help if I put the right key in. Oh, I grabbed the truck key. Stephanie, if you're watching, can I have the Buick key? The truck key will not start this. Not even a little bit. I don't know why I grabbed the truck key. I feel silly. So yeah, that's why. Just cost. Because, that's a lot of parts going inside the old truck there. G. Raitano says, am I an electrician? I used to be a commercial industrial electrician, which meant pretty much I did mostly industrial stuff up to 40,000 volts. Unfortunately, even though that fly is going to bug the heck out of me, even though we were essential during the whole thing that happened, the companies that we worked with to do their stuff, they closed down. They're closed. They don't want to do any work on anything or upgrades, so it just kind of shut us down. 1958 was when the company opened. My step-grandfather, the truck that's behind you, that was his work truck. He started the company in 1958, and it didn't shut its door once. And COVID did it. Ended it. So just kind of, I decided to go off on a limb, and I got real lucky. In fact, when I was up in Montreal with Nick's Garage, one of his videos he made with that put myself on the radar of a gentleman that was working, really good friend now, Roland, if you're on, you're the man, the myth, the legend, on their radar, and I made great friendships there. And fast forward, I started working as a contractor doing videography and production for them. So that's what I do now. I do video production. Okay, here we go. Santa's Workshop just said, hey, Lunar, good to see you, brother. If you guys get a second right now, open up a second tab in your phone or your camera, or not your camera, I don't know how you do it in your camera, on your computer, head over to Santa's Workshop, hit a subscribe to him. The man is an absolute legend. Absolute legend. He is Santa Claus. He is. My kids get to talk to him just about every year. And the stuff he builds there, he just finished restoring a little while ago an absolutely killer Corvette. Highly recommend taking a look at his channel. He's working on a bunch of cool stuff, including an El Camino that is bona fide badass. No fear. Yo, what is it? Throwback to the 90s. Brian K, good to see you show up. Me too, man. I actually almost I tried to schedule. I scheduled the live on the phone, and instead I have a lavalier attached, and I wanted to do the Canon camera and everything to see how this works out and see if you guys can see me all right. I guess I can come a little bit closer. You can see my absolutely hideous face. I've been told I have a face for radio. But yeah, I then realized if you set it up here, you can't run it there. Duh. So yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these things. Brian says, I knew about Hemmings, which for you was a tremendous opportunity, so no one can fault you for that. Glad to see your best wishes for you and your family. God bless you all. I really, really appreciate it, and God bless all of you guys. I keep looking up a little bit because that's where the little I don't know, display that hooks up to the camera is. It's like all over the place. But yeah, I really appreciate it, man. And we did a lot of stuff over there, and I'm looking forward to whatever the future brings. Brian says, do I still have the Cadillac? So with everything that happened last year, I had a little bit of you can't keep everything. a lot happened last year, and we'll kind of cover it. But things needed to change. We have plans now, and clean up now instead of rushing to clean up when it's time to move. But I left the door open. Um, so yeah, I sold a lot, a lot. We trust me, it hurt to sell it all, but we sold the 46 truck, the 81 Ram, the '08 Charger. Yeah, '08 Charger. I almost want to keep calling it a Challenger. It's not. It was a Charger. We sold the Satellite. That one would really hurt to see go. And I sold a bunch of other things. But I promised the kids the cars that they chose for their own, they claimed it. They're theirs. So the '06 Jeep Wrangler that my dad gave or sold to me a long time ago, it used to be my dad's, that's mine. That's going to Dean, my oldest son. And then the white '63 Cadillac Coupe de Ville, Samantha claimed that like 2 seconds after I brought it home, and that's been hers. And I know it's gonna make some people mad, but it's only reliable if I constantly drive it. And I drove it for a year as a daily, no problems. And then I let it sit for a year, and now it's just a total freaking basket case again. So we're not touching it this year, but potentially next year ish. I have plans for the Buick that take it from a daily driver to completely dumb in a good way. And I think what's going to end up happening is the exact engine setup and transmission setup that's in there is going to be removed and put into the Cadillac along with actual seatbelts because it doesn't have that. Disc brake conversion instead of drum brake conversion because I want my daughter not to die. And do some other modifications to that vehicle in such a way that it can always be undone. We'll put the engine and transmission in a crate and protect it because one, it's like a 1 year only, it is a 1 year only engine. And the transmission, good luck finding parts for it. It's a total freaking nightmare. And then Teddy, my youngest son, chose the red Supra, which is being stored at a different place right now because those two darn trees need to come down and I don't want them falling on my cars. Let's see. Wood and Metal Garage, another great channel. Highly recommend you check them out. I'm glad to be back. I'm in a much better place and a much better mindset to get some work done, and I'm really excited about it. East Tennessee Classic says, glad to see you back. Missed your videos. Again, I'm very happy to be back, and we're going to be, I have a different production quality in my mind of how I do things than I used to. So hopefully that benefits you guys. I've learned a lot and I've grown a lot as a creator over the past year. We are going to be doing more vlog style with the truck, mostly because it's a huge project. I have paint that we're going to be putting on it. We have rockers, every single panel except for the cab, and rockers, and yeah, there are stuff that needs to be done with the cab, but not too much. Let's see. Super Satellite Garage says, still have the Satellite. I don't know if you wrote past it. That did end up going to a great home, and they're going to go from Mad Max to fully restored. That was unfortunately just one of the cars that I hate to say this, guys, but the Satellite was nice. It was really nice. It drove really well. This 360 it woke it up. It woke it up a lot. But that car handles a lot better, and that already has a ready? That's got a four. Why can't I think it? Not a 4 bolt. It's got a 10 bolt, 8.2. That needs to change for my plans. But it's got a 4-link. That's the word. 4-link rear end already built into it. So you know where I'm going with it. The Supra is a track car, like going to Watkins Glen or Lime Rock, which hopefully we get to do this year. We'll see. That is an autocross car. That is meant to go around corners. It is an absolute animal. And yeah, a 550 horsepower rated clutch got eaten because I dropped it down going 40 miles per hour and floored it. So I don't know. We'll get it on a dyno, but I don't know how much power it's making. But I finally got it tuned where it was really, really nice, and the clutch didn't like it. So that I would like to turn into a drag car. And I know I was planning on taking the old Caprice right here and twin turboing it and throwing that Edelbrock cross ram on it. That's become my daily driver with the kids. And I have been told that I need to have one reliable vehicle. So that's not going to get really messed with. That's going to stay factory. for at least a while. And that means I have we have stuff for that. It's gonna be a good time. That's after the square body though. Remember, one project at a time. That's done. Now Buick. Now we move on. Daniel says, praying for my channel to blow up. More fun and builds will help financially, especially these days. We could all use some. Yeah, I don't have sponsors. I do this all with my own budget. And yeah, that hurt. This hurt. The super hurt. That hurt. That's one of the reasons why we needed to, besides just getting this thing kind of rewired correctly, that's why we had to broom a bunch of vehicles this year, because I still need to be able to make content, and the square body is going to be awesome. Dented Dreams Garage, what's up, Lunar? What's up, my dude? Unfinished projects, how are you? I see you a lot over at John's channel. I know you're a moderator over there. We appreciate you. Great member of our community. Let's see. All right. SSG. Oh, okay. Super. Okay. I was like, I don't know what that is. There you go. One of the really cool things watching other people's live streams as well as mine is watching other individuals in it interact with other people. It's really cool to see a community, because it's not like when I go to watch John's stuff, or if I hop onto Adam's stuff over at Hoosier's Garage, or if I'm watching Joe over at Just Mopar Joe's, it's not just about, oh, let's go watch him. It's about seeing what's going on, how everyone's doing, and being part of the group. And that's a big part of it. That's like the major part of what we do. And again, I started the channel solely for getting the projects done and holding myself accountable, not so that I could be, the next, I don't know, roadkill. That was never really my intention. And if Stephanie, if you're watching this, can you bring me out the Buick keys? Because that'd be awesome. I will meet you at the stairs. So I'm fairly confident she's watching with my daughter. So the only thing that's really major wrong with the Buick that needs to be done is the dashboard needs to be cut out and a new dash welded in. Unfortunately, the current dash, being a 1969 to 1970 dashboard, 1970, they painted it with a non-reflective coating, and unfortunately, it was very porous. The water got into it, and it actually rusted out. So before we go and do anything really insane, as I'm driving down the road, the window kind of has more flex in it than it really should. So replacing the dash and making sure there's no other damage around it. I just got a notification. 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Hello, lady.
Hi.
Thank you.
Keys, as requested.
You are the best, lady. So, how's everyone hearing me okay? Jingle, jingle, jingle. Do you think I can, or I'll get the Buick to Lebanon Valley this summer? No, because the windshield is cracked, and I can't replace the windshield until I replace the dash. And the dash that's a project. I can drive it down the road. New York State doesn't like having cracks in windshields, but whatever. So yeah, the biggest issue with it really comes down to everything else is perfectly functional. I use it as a driver. I drive it out to Hemmings for when I film. I pretty much use it for everything but going to get groceries, because the Caprice is a lot cleaner. No matter how much I've tried to clean that, it still has a little bit of it was abandoned in Texas kind of smell. Where also in like 90-degree weather, this thing's awesome. Oh yeah, and one only complaint I have about the Buick, it comes down to this. Ready? We have the right keys this time. Oh. Just like that. Now the big issue really comes down to, yeah, 40 minutes of this thing at highway speed. very loud. It's very, very loud and kind of like super annoying. So the biggest issue really comes down to I need a quieter exhaust, or I can do what I'm planning on doing with the Supra. Now, the exhaust I have on the Supra, I'm not super happy with the way it came out. It's got this weird Y that was put in. It's like the only thing I didn't do to the car was the exhaust, and so the guy put a Y in it, and it went from 2.5 inch to a horrible Y for like if you're doing like a daily driver, that's fine, but that Y being so uneven actually creates a weird, unbalanced tuning situation. Like it's actually making one side run leaner than the other, and it's really frustrating. So, and it again, 2.5s into 1.5, and then it goes into the exhaust, which is a 3 inch exhaust. So I have cutouts because those Engine Masters did a thing where it actually does it. It significantly helps your exhaust system to produce power if you have cutouts. And then from that, sun is right in my eye. There we go. And then from there, we'll actually go from those to a Y, which will go 2.5s into a Y. So they scavenge a lot better than this T-like thing that was done into a Y, which then will continue through the back of the exhaust. And then if I'm running down the track or on a dyno or on the street and someone wants to play, you faster than the nut job, we're going to take the Supra and go crazy with it. Yeah, I love that Buick too. So that thing is absolutely wicked. Again, the only issue, 45-minute ride. It's only got 3 speeds, so 45-minute ride in that thing. It's just screaming. It wants to kill you in a good way. Like it wants to go. It's just really loud. I'm getting old, man. I don't know. Unfinished Product says, like-minded people. We're all kind of like a gang in an asylum. Yeah, we're all crazier than, I don't know, whatever. I'm really bad with those things. We're crazy. I need water. Whatever happened to the V10 conversion? Like I had said, that was actually, so the big issue with that one was I end up replacing, I ended up buying the Escalade. The Escalade was awesome. It was able to tow to a certain extent, the 6.0 LQ9, great vehicle for towing. Transmission, not so much, but it did everything I needed, allowed me to carry the kids around. So I have a finite budget, and it was either buy the Escalade or work on the 81 Ram, as well as the 5 other projects. See, that was the problem. The problem with my channel used to be, not anymore, I had like 3 or 4 projects, or one time like 5 projects going. So carteling that down to 1 project, only 1, and then general maintenance on the other vehicles is going to allow us to be able to do cooler stuff. And sure, we have to wait for parts, or we do what I did with the square body, and I bought everything beforehand. So this coming up week, I can hopefully get all the body panels replaced, the suspension rebuilt in the rear, and the truck painted to a certain extent. The truck painted. The goal for painting the vehicle is to get rid of the horribleness and protect the E-coating that's on the parts and pieces. All right. So that was one of the vehicles that just got broomed. Say, no problem hearing me, especially being outside. The way that you are is perfect. Cool. So I actually have a lavalier. It is actually fairly windy today. And this will allow me to be able to walk around. Like I could probably walk to the back. Hopefully you can still hear all of the implementation of different types of audio and video stuff. So if you can see me, you can hear me. That's actually not true. These things have ridiculous range. I actually found, you ready for this? Here's a fun story that you probably didn't need to know. But so this is a Canon R. The other camera that I use on the larger productions, if I needed to have 2 cameras set up, is a C70. Now, I'll have both of them going, and I'll have everyone laved up, and the range on these things can be a little bit unsettling. And what I mean by that is all of a sudden it's funny, you'll hear people walking, And then you hear a door open and they're walking. Door closes behind them. They keep walking, right? And then you hear goop, tink. And then they start peeing. And you're like, oh, damn, he didn't mute his mic. Cool. So then you're like frantically trying to figure out whose mic it is that's doing that so you can shut that off because I don't need to listen to that. But that happens more often than you'd feel comfortable. So yeah, if you're ever laved up, do the producer or the director a favor and turn the freaking thing off before going to the bathroom. It's not fun. Let's see. Ed, how you doing, my buddy? Hope you're doing well. Don't give up. I haven't forgotten to call you. Oh, they're talking to each other. It's the thing. You guys, Rodney, call Ed. Like, not right now though. Later. But don't forget, because if I were in your situation, I would forget. And then Stephanie would have to remind me. But if I forget to tell her, you're screwed. So yeah. Hey, it's Mopar Nut 62. No way, Lunar. With just one project? Okay, aliens have taken. Shh. They'll hear you, and then they'll come for you next. But anyways, it's working well. Cool, perfect. Wood Metal Garage says, "How is the garage coming? Lumbered down a bit." So I actually, things are happening. Unfortunately, something bad happened last year. I have to be careful what I say, how much I say. All I can say is what actually happened, and it wasn't good. One of the reasons why I wasn't able to do a lot of events is after Stephanie's second pregnancy, the C-section wasn't done properly at all. And that actually caused complications. Those complications led to extreme pain down there. And the doctor she had was ignoring her and just like, it's normal, it's fine. It turned out that, well, she then got referred to a specialist. Our primary care actually got an MRI for her. And we didn't get to see the MRI. And also, I'm not a doctor. I'm happy enough that I can put together things in my driveway. Anatomy is, I know how to make it so that I can stop bleeding when I do something like dumb and drop something and, you know, no broken bones yet. But ultimately, the specialist that her OBGYNs referred her to drew a picture showing that her lady bits were completely destroyed and she needed to have, he was saying that she had adenomyosis. And the MRI actually, we find out afterwards, does not actually support that at all. It actually said that it was healthy. And so he rushed her unnecessarily into have a total hysterectomy. And so now we can't have any more kids. She's exposed to a lot of potentially bad things down the road. She's younger than 35. So that means she's 250% more likely to have cardiovascular disease in the future and a bunch of other stuff. But the uterus also feeds the ovaries, and statistically speaking, they'll stop functioning within 4 years. Also, for that time period, they'll be 50 to 75% less effective at doing their job. So yeah, it was a really tough time last year. We have a lot we're working through, and we have a long trip ahead of us to get things taken care of. But it's really made it so we don't like New York anymore. We're looking at moving when we can. You know, that's expensive, especially moving all of this stuff. One of the reasons why a lot of the cars got, you know, broomed. So it was really rough. I wasn't able to bring myself out and fake like everything was okay and put on a chipper like you know. So we've had time. That was October of last year, and it's still one of my really good buddies, Junior. He really good friend. I talked to him quite a bit about things, and he knows way too much. But he was there for me, and you need a friend that can do that. I have my really good friend Junior, my good friend Kuntz, if you're watching, my other really good friend it's just, yeah, it's really important to have someone that you could talk to. And, things are better. Things are going to get better. And we'll leave it there. Anyways, yeah, it was horrible. So, Nebraska. Tennessee sounds like really nice. So we went through quite a bit on like where we would want to move. And one of the big issues was too hot. I don't do well in heat. She likes heat way more than I do. So there's like we need to have an intermediate. Like I don't like -20 like what we get up here, but I don't want like 120. You know what I mean? I also prefer it to be a little bit more dry than humid. Tennessee kind of is somewhere in between there. Actually, when we've had really hot days, Tennessee, where we're looking like middle of Tennessee east because there's less poisonous stuff there. I'm like, if I'm inside of a junkyard, I'm a horse with blinders on. You know, it's not a good time. I don't want to get bitten by something that will kill me and I'll be stuffed in like a car or something. It wouldn't be good. So yeah, we're thinking Tennessee. Better on taxes, both personal as well as corporate. Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, New York State is not the bastion of freedom at all. So Tennessee, or broke down in Alabama, though people down in Alabama were absolutely freaking awesome. In fact, like I was like, I'm gonna get a ticket. No, the cops actually helped push the car. So whether it's Texas is a little too hot for me, and a lot of poison stuff there. Not really a fan. So good property taxes, good. Just Texas is a great state. Highly recommend it if you're looking for a state. Highly recommends Texas. Tennessee's a good one. Alabama, Kentucky. We're kind of focused on southern, middle, that kind of area in Tennessee. Be really cool. Everything does have a trade-off. You're right. You're 100% correct, because one of the best parts about up here is, sure, we get really bad snowstorms, and we'll have snow here literally in April. Had to happen this high. But we barely ever get tornadoes. We occasionally get hurricanes. We get earthquakes occasionally. Although the weird part about our earthquakes is they're not as strong as like the crazy people out in California that get like crazy to live there if you're going to be getting shook with potentially like a 7 or a 10 or something crazy. No, we had a 3.8 or 5 or something like that, but it was like within 2 miles from the surface, which is actually really shallow, so you could feel it. It was weird. I didn't feel it. I live up on a mountain. Apparently our mountain has a lot of dolomite and other really hard rock, so they like to make gravel, and a lot of gravel mines, quarries. Santa's Workshop says Oklahoma. You guys have a lot of poisonous crap there. You have alligators. I loved going through there. Your roads are loud, though. I'll give you, from Texas, 2 years ago, I went through 22 states. It was right after Teddy was born. It would have been after Teddy's born because he's just turned 3. So here you go. I went down, bought that, drove it home, and then went on the Great Race and did all this other stuff and went through 22 states. And let me tell you, Arkansas and Oklahoma have the loudest roads. They are just take the boulders and don't grind them up. Just throw them in the freaking road. I don't know why they do that, but it was just like a whole way, all through both those states. Texas was great. The roads were nice and solid. They were quiet as much as that could have been. And I enjoyed the trip through there. The only problem is people are a little fast in Texas. They it's the Daytona 500 going 200 miles per hour by you. And I'm sitting there going 60, 65 because I didn't want the 350 that was barely held together to come apart. I was like, I'm going to die. Also, they like to abandon cars on the side of the road randomly. And they're just there. Oklahoma, the only complaint is the loud noise. Arkansas. Mississippi, get more gas stations. Jesus, I almost got lost and died out there. I'm like, I had a 2-gallon tank. Like I have 3.5 3 hours and 45 minutes on a full tank going 65 miles per hour. I'm like, I hit Mississippi. I'm like, I got 2 hours left on this. I'm fine. I didn't see a gas station for I was almost, I think it was at 3 hours and 50 minutes. I'm like, this 2 gallons isn't going to get me much further than, where I break down. So finally, by the grace of God, I'm like, there we go. Hit Alabama, broke down. Everyone was super nice. The roads in Alabama are awesome. Up to Tennessee. What can I say? Tennessee is probably my favorite state. Ohio, your roads suck. Terrible. Garbage roads. New Jersey, might as well be New York roads. Virginia, actually, those are pretty good roads. I have nothing to say about them. It's like, yeah. I was also like sleep deprived at that point. So, take that as a grain of salt. Anyways, Ohio roads are terrible. Also, going through like up to Fargo, I'm from mountains. My ancestors are of the Huron tribe. We come from the mountains. And then we go through there and I'm like, everything's freaking flat. It's unsettling. Not a fan of it at all. It's like it was weird because you see pictures of the sun being like huge on the horizon. Around here, you don't see that. Or the moon. It's never huge. Holy crap, you go there and it's like, ooh, am I going to die? And then we had a storm roll overhead. It was weird. I don't know how people live out there. God bless you. It's freaking things of nightmare fuel. All right. Vermont, everything I said there that I just said about New York is worse. There's more snow. I lived in Vermont for 8 months. They didn't freaking plow. They left 2 inches on no matter what. It was terrible. No. Also, I'm trading one expensive state for another. Psh, no way. North Carolina. That's not a bad state. My aunt lives in South Carolina. So, south of North Carolina. Yeah, that's how that works. But anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. Let's see. Buff DeCapo, my dude, you are still a member, and I know I have been gone for a long time, but I very much appreciate you still being a member. You are an absolute saint. You guys, right now, he has supported the channel for God knows how long. Head over to Buff's channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Congratulations on hitting 500 subscribers. Last I saw, you were at 560 something. So let's bump them up a little bit more, guys. Takes you what? 10 seconds? But here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. I want to mention this. I've been working quite a bit with YouTube and people that they get paid to work on social media. I've learned a tremendous amount over the past 2 years, almost a year and a half, a little over a year and a half. We'll call it a year and a half, doing stuff. There's a bird eating my freaking raspberries, it's a great, I don't know what that is. Stephanie told me what that, I digress. I learned a lot. Here's the issue though. Oh, I think we're running low on the battery. Might want to plug it in. Well, we'll go until the battery dies. And next time I'll plug it in beforehand. So if you subscribe to Buff, make sure you watch his stuff, because here's the problem. YouTube will take your video and put it in front of 1,000 people, starting with your subscribers. And it'll base through click-through rate. So if you want to help a channel out, subscribe, click on their videos, especially notifications. Thumbs up, comment, takes 2 seconds, comment, say, you rock. Buff, you are the man, the myth, the freaking legend. Then, if you have time, after you've liked and you've commented on the video, click another one of their videos. That is what you need to do to help build another content creator grow. Because if you just subscribe and then you never click on their videos again, and the video pops up in their feed or in your feed, their video pops up in your feed and you don't click on it, the click-through rate of that video drops dramatically. That actually, I know this for a fact because Google said that to the larger people that do stuff. And not only from watching the analytics from I don't know if they're a Fortune 500, but Hemmings is owned by American City Business